people who are looking to approach or looking to get a patent application filed, they tend to jump straight to working with a lawyer. But what I found is there's actually quite a few steps preceding this that are important if you really want to have a high quality patent application that actually has a high potential of bringing value to your business and improving the credibility of your business. Over those years, I've worked on developing this process, which has now become this 9-step process that I take clients through prior to and including when they start working with their lawyer. So looking at the process here, you can see step 8 is actually where, when I'm working with clients, where they first engage their lawyer. And clients that I've talked to who have filed patents in the past, and obviously not everyone, but a lot of people, they start with this step, and oftentimes they even don't necessarily do that step very well. So even in this engaged lawyer step, I work with my clients to ensure that they're working with the right lawyer and they're asking the right questions and they're asking their lawyer to do the right thing so that, they can go from maybe being intimidated by the prospect of working with a patent lawyer to basically becoming in charge of the process and costs, and then directing their lawyer, in terms of working for them with what they need. But you can't necessarily do that just by jumping in here in step 8. You have to prepare in advance. So this is where these other steps 1 to 7, become very important if you want to ensure that you get a high quality patent application that, again, will bring value to your business. So when I work with clients, we start with articulating the product, step 1, because oftentimes my clients themselves don't even know exactly all the different potentially innovative components that exist on their product. So they may not be entirely sure exactly what they have. And after we go through this step, then they're much more clear on exactly which aspects of their product, and maybe they even have multiple products or processes, have the most potential to move forward with the remainder of these steps and ultimately with filing a patent application on. So once we have a sense of exactly which aspect we're going to be focusing on, then step number 2, inventors and entrepreneurs are a little bit isolated, not from their market necessarily, but from the prior existing technical documentation. So let's say other patents that might be out there. Sometimes there's scientific articles that exist. And so this step 2, helps bring my clients from that point to becoming aware of existing patents that are already out there and other publications as well. And this is valuable because it's important to know what exists so that you can attempt to file a patent application on something new and innovative. That way you'll have a much higher chance of the patent office accepting your application once they finally get a chance to take a look at it. So that's step 2. Once we have a sense of what else is out there, in step 3 we take a closer look in comparing what my clients have articulated in step 1 with what we found in step 2. This is where we really dig into those few patents or publications that are most closely related to my client's product. And so obviously a pretty important step there. In the second phase, so steps 4, 5, and 6, once we have a good sense that there's something there, it looks like it could be patentable because we didn't find too many other existing patents or publications that are similar, then we need to really determine what is the best way to move forward with developing a strategy. And does it even make sense to move forward? So for step 4, a lot of clients that I work with are a little bit overwhelmed with the potential cost and some of the risks involved with getting a patent, whether they might get rejected by the patent office or not. So we go through this step of basically just marking down and calculating out some of those costs and risks so that you can then take a more objective, unemotional view of what the potential downsides are. And we don't want to be entirely negative, so that's where in step 5, we take a look at what could the potential benefits be. There's potentially a lot of benefits, including credibility, as I mentioned, with potential investors, potential partners, other people that you might be working with, even customers in some case, employees if you're looking to hire. So having 1 or 2 patent applications can really level up your business from that perspective. And then in step 6, we add the benefits and subtract the costs and risks and develop that strategy. And then also, what are the next steps in terms of moving forward with the patent application? So that brings us up to step 7 here, which is where we really take those point form aspects that we've come up with in step 1 and put some meat on there. So really write a very detailed invention description. This is important because once you start working with a lawyer, it's going to be important that you can communicate what you have very efficiently and time efficiently and effectively to the lawyer so that they understand very quickly what it is that they're writing the patent on. And so if you come to them with a detailed invention description, then it's going to keep your legal costs down, and it's also going to result in a far better patent because there isn't this confusing back and forth process where the lawyer's asking questions, but they don't really quite get that deep understanding of what your product is. And then, as I briefly mentioned at the beginning of this video, step 8, once you have all that work prepared, then it's much more effective then when you jump in and start working with a lawyer. And especially if you go through a few of the steps we take in step 8 to make sure you're working with the right lawyer and they are working within your budget and your timeline, of course. So that's step 8, and then typically the lawyer would go away, take some time, write that initial draft, and come back, send the draft over. And this is where step 9 is very important, that you review that draft very closely and understand enough about claims and different parts of the patent to know where you need to suggest changes to the lawyer, where you need to ask your lawyer questions and what questions to ask, so that, again, you can elevate that application to a really high quality patent that will ideally bring a lot of value to your business right away in terms of improved credibility, maybe the potential to license your product or process to another company, and ultimately, in terms of just building that value in your business from IP protection perspective. So hopefully this gives you a bit of a more in-depth sense of the program that I take my clients through and these steps and how important they can really be, as opposed to just jumping in and working with a lawyer. Doing this prep work, it can really help you get a much better patent at the end of the day. And in some cases, your legal costs are even a little bit less. So let me know if you want to discuss this in more depth. I'd be happy to expand on any of these aspects and give you a little bit more details about this program. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later.